G'day folks, welcome back to the channel. We're doing something a little bit different today and looking at some soldering gear because, as I've been talking about in the last several videos, my solder station failed and I had to replace it. So I figured let's do a video on a couple different solder stations and see where we get with this. Reason I'm doing this on a couple of soldering stations is the one I ordered from DigiKey did not show up. A different version showed up that was the entirely wrong version, so yeah, I'm having to wait for them to ship the actual correct version to me, so it's not here yet, but we'll at least get this video started, because I did get the backup one from Amazon I ordered, so yeah, it is what it is, kind of trying to make the best of a bad situation here. I've been suffering with this old Radio Shack iron for the last several videos, and can't find tips for this one anymore, and I think this one actually unscrews from the actual iron itself, but yeah, this one's old. It's at least 30 years old, so I definitely need something I can work with a little better than that. So yeah, this is the solder station I've been using all this time. I've had it since 2008, back when I started doing reviews for JohnnyGuru.com. As mentioned in a previous video, Johnny Guru himself bought this for me as sort of a joining the company type deal, because I needed something I could use to solder with, and it's just been an absolute tank ever since then. It's just sort of a basic station that does hot air and soldering, but of course the soldering part's failed now, so yeah, I do have a replacement iron coming for it, because there's no point just ordering the ceramic cartridge that's failed. But yeah, it's an 852 soldering station. I don't know what brand. It's kind of a no-name brand. Got it off eBay for, I think, 120 bucks back in the day. But yeah, it's served me well for 16 years, so like I said, there is a new handle coming, and this will be a backup station for me from now on. It'll only come out when I need the hot air, because the one I ordered does not have hot air. It's a vacuum desoldering type station, so yeah, that's this old beast. Got thermal control over both the soldering iron and the heater for the hot air, and I'll tell you right now, if you crank up the hot air all the way, this thing will blast enough hot air to resolder just about anything. It's very powerful. I've used it to completely desolder the primary sides of 1200 watt computer power supplies. So it gets the job done. So glad the hot air still works in it, because most of the new stations I've been looking at, like those 4-in-1s, they have the blower in the handle for this, and I always wanted to know how this was set up inside, so how about we open this up and find out, shall we? Give me a second, I'll get the screws out and we can take a look inside. Alrighty then, let's break the warranty seal on this thing. Had it for 16 years, so it's no good anyway. Should be open now, so let's get the cover off and see what's inside. And there you go. I'm guessing this is the air pump here for the hot air. It would have to be. Not sure what this little white box is. But yeah, there's the power transformer back there. It's got a 4-amp fuse in it. And I can tell you right now that this will allow you to use both the hot air and the soldering iron at the same time. So, a bunch of questionable capacitors there, I gotta say. Might be a good idea to recap this thing if I'm going to continue using it. Not that it really matters. It's held up for 16 years. It doesn't need to do any more work, I don't think, unless I want it to. Over on this side, there's another one of those capacitors there. I don't know what we've got here for a transistor. Okay, the camera gimbal is kind of working. Thought it wasn't there for a second. Hope you can see this. Anyway, I won't bother taking it apart further than this, but that looks to be the controller or something. LM324N. Maybe that's not a controller. Got something there. Not 100% sure what that is. Looks like a relay. Probably is a relay. And yeah, I'm looking down the front to see if there's anything soldered to the front side, and if there is, I can't see it. But yeah, that's the old soldering station. We're not dealing with this today, so let me throw the cover back on this thing and we'll get started with the first of the new ones we're looking at today. Okay, so our first of the new stations is this one. Seekone. It said Seekone, so I sought one, then I saw one, then they sold one. What can I say? This was 50 bucks from Amazon. I'm not expecting much from this, but we'll see how it does. Now, before we really get into this, I just wanted to mention something. Anytime I do a video like this, it's on a product I have purchased. I decided I'm not doing this whole sponsorship stuff with companies sending me stuff like a lot of the other YouTube channels do. They get stuff sent to them by these Chinese manufacturers for review. I decided I didn't want to do that because really, that's kind of what I had to do during my power supply review days. I was on welfare at the time, so I was not making any money. I couldn't afford to go out and buy review samples for all that stuff that I reviewed for the website, so basically had to rely on the free samples. And then I knew going in that everybody and their dog would be accusing me of bias just because I got free stuff. So I decided even before I started doing a single review of that for the site that my integrity was not going to be for sale at any price. So companies found out the hard way that I was not able to be bought. Let's just put it that way. Anyhow, let's get into this. Seekone, 60 watts. The other one I've got coming in apparently has 100 watts going to the iron. So, yeah. What do we got here? Ceramic heating core, fast heating. Replaceable welding head, 60 watts power, 2.7 inch HD display. Ooh, HD, that means it's high definition. Probably not, but whatever. Some warnings on the back. Brand name Seekone, model SDL-996S. 60 watts, 110 to 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz. So universal power supply is kind of good, but that kind of tells me this might have a switching power supply in it. So I hope it's halfway decent. Cable length, 3.94 feet. Okay, that might be even more useful than what I've been dealing with all this time. Okay, let me just measure this. 27.5 inches. A little over 2 feet. That's been a problem because I just have not had enough length on this cable. So, very glad that at least the Seekone is equipped a little better. Like Sun GmbH. Free Comer Limited, whatever that means. Soldering station, whatever that means. Made in China, whatever that means. Dongguan Futuo Electronic Tools Company Limited. Okay, enough of that. Let's take a look at these warnings. I'll hold it steady so you can pause and read. Product is not intended for commercial use. Well, that's fine. It's a backup iron for me, because I don't want to be in this situation again. Okay, pretty standard warnings back there, I think. So, let's crack her open and see what's inside. English and German user manual. That's a strange combination. It's in color at least. That's nice. Yeah, it looks like we get 60 watts max, standard 23 volt iron, 200 degrees Celsius to 480 degrees Celsius. Should work just fine, and I'm hoping because it has a ceramic heating core, it can take my Hakko tips. Because I don't know if you realize this, probably do, but the tips these things come with are absolute garbage. That was the case for my original solder station back there too. I think that tip lasted maybe a couple of weeks and then it was done. So I ordered a set of 10 Hakko replacement tips for it. Genuine Hakko tips. And I'm finally on the last one of those after 16 years. So yeah, buy the good tips for these, whichever ones you get. Let's see, soldering iron temperature setting, fairly standard there. I get a display this time. Temperature compensation mode. Okay, I guess this sets up the, this compensates for any discrepancies in the display versus what's actually on the iron. That's nice. The old station doesn't do that. Record temperature function. I don't see the need to that really, but well, it's kind of handy. After power off, it will automatically adjust to last set temperature. Okay, so yeah, that is handy. Never mind. Kind of out to lunch again because I had poutine for lunch again, but whatever. Automatic hibernation. That's another feature I'm going to find useful, I think. I can't tell you the number of times I've left the old station on, and it doesn't have auto power off. Let's just put it that way. Okay, so it does after 10 minutes, and there actually might be an accelerometer in this handle because it says lift the handle to automatically restore the temperature before hibernation. Okay, I'm glad for that because I won't want to power it back up every time. Daily cleaning, replace the tip, maintenance of the tip, all the other good stuff. Okay, this suggests it might actually use the Hakko tips. So let me set this aside and I'll go get one of the Hakko tips to try with this. Alright, I got the Hakko tip I had installed on the old solder station back when I thought it was just the tip that was causing problems, but yeah, this one is brand new. I've tried to heat this up with the old iron, but it doesn't work, so that's another thing I didn't do is show you what's wrong with this old one. As mentioned in a previous video, or perhaps this video, the ceramic element is shot. It's just done. It can't heat up anymore. So yeah, this is an old Hakko tip. I could probably still get a little bit of life left out of that tip, but I think since I'm buying soldering gear anyway, I'll just order some new Hakko tips to go with the new solder stations, and I hope they can both use these Hakko tips. That's the idea here. I wanted two that could use the same tips. Okay, what do we got in here? Power cord, pretty standard stuff. We have, ooh, a little bundle of solder. I may use this, I may not. Flux 2%, 50 grams weight, 0.8 millimeter diameter. I don't know about this. It doesn't say exactly what solder this is. I'd like to know what it is. The stuff I've been using is lead-free ROHS stuff. This is the last of it here. I threw the spool away, but yeah, I've been using that for a long time, and I'm now going to be... what the heck is with the white balance? What is going on with my camera gimbal right now? Anyway, I'll fix that later. This is the new solder I've got. This is standard 60-40 I'm going back to. I'm not doing the lead-free stuff anymore. So yeah. Good Lord, the white balance is crazy. Let me shut you off and deal with that. Alright, the camera is in full manual mode now, so I'm not sure if the exposure is going to behave itself, but we'll see. I hope it'll work. Anyway, let's see what else we got. We got this stand here with some tips inside. They're a little bit, or this little tip holder is kind of not so good. It's got a big hole in the side, but yeah, these are HACO compliant tips here, so this is going to work. Maybe. The actual HACO tip has a little bit of a smaller diameter hole. We got different tips here, don't we? Several different types, so I may use these up before I do anything else with the HACO tips, because I'd like to use up the cheap Chinese ones first. First up, we got this one. About 0.6 millimeters on that tip or so. 0.7 maybe. Yeah, this will be great for desoldering surface mount stuff or soldering surface mount stuff or whatever. Got a little chisel tip on this one that's about, 2.9 millimeters. Got a bigger chisel tip here. Slanty chisel tip. That one's 4.7. This one is kind of a weird shape, but it'll do the job, I'm sure. 1.4 millimeters. And this one's got a chisel tip for 2.3 millimeters. I'm sure I'll find a use for these. I'm going to put those off to the side, hopefully separate from my HACO tip, because we want to evaluate the ones this came with first. Got one of these little steel wool tip cleaners. I'll just get that out now. Shove that back in there so it's ready to clean the tip. So far so good. I'm quite liking it so far. Here's the handle. Pull this off. Got a, 6-pin DIN connector here. Fat chance this is going to work on the old station. In fact, I'd be surprised if it did. Got a little silicone insulator here to help prevent you from burning yourself when this thing's cranked up to full power. That is a problem with the old one too. Anytime I had this thing dialed up to maximum, it gets really hot, so I'm not too concerned about that. It works, it's just not quite ideal. You're getting what you're getting for the price is what I'm saying there. So yes, we'll take a look at this handle, and yeah, much longer cord on this one. Let's measure this one too, why not? A little over 3 feet. Not sure if that's what they promised or not, but it'll do the job, I don't care. So let's take a look at the ceramic element, shall we? Oh, that's loose, so good thing we're doing this. I don't know what the deal with this tip is. It looks like it's been used before, but I don't think it has. Ceramic element seems, well, ceramic element-y. Let's get the HACO tip and see if it fits on. I'm sure it does. You betcha it does. Good, I can use that. So, which tip shall we try? The one that came on this thing, or go with one of the others? I think I'm going to go with one of the others here. Not the smallest one. I'll go with this funny looking one. How's about that? So we'll throw that on there. Okay, that seems tight. Now put this one off with the others. I don't believe this has ever been used before. That was a concern of mine after reading some of the reviews, that some of them claim that they had gotten used items, but mine does not appear to be used. Okay, now the control panel itself, and this is way too light to have a linear power supply in it. This will be a switcher for sure. Definitely. Got a power switch on the side for main power. Ooh, we get to peel off a protective sticker. Like so. ESD safe, that's always very much a priority for me. Let's see, how does this come open? It's probably got, yeah, screws underneath, so we're gonna have to remove the feet in order to get this apart to look at it. Okay, screws are out. Let's get inside. Let's try to get inside. How do we get inside? With some difficulty is how we get inside. There do not appear to be screws holding the top on, so it's just clipped in, and now it's unclipped. Yeah, that is a switching power supply for sure, I'm betting. Random capacitor of questionable origin, 100 microfarads, 400 volts. I do not have a replacement for that. Little bridge rectifier there. There's your transformer. And I'm trying to see what this is back in here. 10N65, whatever that is. I don't think I'll even try to get access to this one, but yeah. Chang'e capacitors over here, garbage quality. I might have to recap on those. Yeah, definite switching power supply here for sure. Has to be. What we got for a controller? We have that for a controller, Holtec HT1621B. What is that IC? Don't know, I can't make out any numbers on that thing. Couple of transistors here, 78M05 on top, and what's this one? Oh, come on, camera, focus. See if I can get this thing away so you can see. All right, I can't make that out on my screen here, so you're gonna have to tell me, I guess. Or I'll just look at the footage. But yeah, that's this little device, so I won't pull this out, I don't think. I just want to put this back together and start testing on it. So let's do that, shall we? Okay, so getting ready to fire this thing up for the first time. It's actually got holders up here for the spare tips, and I think you're kind of supposed to throw them in this way. It's just they're kind of not able to hold the tips in place very well that way, so I just kind of gave up. Anyway, I'll just put them down there. How about that? On the back here, something else I should mention. This is where the fuse holder lives, or where the fuse lives. It says use only with 250 volt fuse. That goes without saying, kind of, or it should. Anyhow, let's plug this in and we'll fire it up and see if the magic smoke comes out of her. And we are going to test the performance of this too in a second. I just want to make sure it gets as hot as it's supposed to get first. We're going to use this for that, the IR camera multimeter. So I'm not sure if this is the best way to do this or not, but yeah, it's what I've got handy right now, so we're going to use it. Okay, let's power on. Or at least, oh, there it goes. Okay, we're going up to a temperature. I don't know what temperature we're going up to. Probably full power. Heats up quickly enough. It's kind of like the old solder station. This is about how long that one took to heat up. But I actually don't want it to go that hot, so at least not right now. Okay, this is how you switch this to sane units. You hold plus and minus for 2 seconds, I guess. I actually want it hotter than that now. We'll go up to 300 with it. Or no, I'll go up to 350. Okay, so is it hot yet? Sure seems to be. Let me fire up the multimeter here. I do have thermocouple probes I could be using to test this with as well, but I want to use the IR camera on this thing because I don't get very many chances to do that, so we're going to do it. Okay, we'll check the main unit first. Looks like it's running around 30 degrees at the hottest. Let's see the iron. Let me do it like this. I'll just hold it flat on the table and try to do it this way. That would certainly suggest that it's not getting quite as hot as it pretends to get, but on the other hand, I am measuring this with an IR camera, so let me get my solder here. I'll be able to tell you fairly quickly if it's around the right temperature in a second here, because I'm going to pull something up on the table now to solder on this, or to solder with this for testing. This is one of my old Johnny Guru review samples. This is an Ultra X4 1200 watt power supply. This is one of the two I had for review samples. If I remember right, this one didn't perform properly, and they sent another one in for testing. And yeah, I keep some of these around just to grab parts off of whenever I need them, like coils and heat sinks and all kinds of other good stuff. And yeah, but for this, we're going to use this to find out how good of an iron this really is. And we're going to use this with the other station too, because I want to see how good that one is. Got lots of really thick traces on this that we can really test this with. So I'll put you right there, I guess. Massive ground plane over there. That's going to take a ton of heat in order to solder anywhere on there. I'll tell you that right now. But first, let me grab the solder, and we'll start over here on this pad. Oh yeah, 350 was plenty for that, assuming it is actually 350 I'm running this at. Let me get my solder pult here, and we'll just vacuum desolder that right now, because we can. I was expecting it to handle that kind of a trace, because it's really not much to it. There's just one little solder pad here. Let's give it something more difficult to chew on. Oh, let's go right over here, I think. Right down here. This is going to be tricky. At least at 350 it should be tricky. Might require more heat. There's an additional wire solder to this that'll make this challenging for this iron. And yet not that challenging, apparently. Okay, let's go to something harder. Let's go over here, shall we? There's a couple of coils right there. So if this works at 350, I'll be surprised and pleased. Yeah, no, it's not doing that at 350. Let's crank it up. How hot does this thing go? 480. Let's try 480 and we'll see what it does. Still heating up now. We're up to 450 or so. 470. And we're there. Let's try her now. Oh yeah. Completely desoldered that one. Let's try the ground plane over here. The real tough challenge. And I'll remind you that this is with the stock tips that came with this iron. And oh yeah, it's working with this. Easy. Okay, so I'm happy with this iron already. So yeah, I like it. I gotta say I do. It's working well. Whether or not it'll hold up over time, that's another issue entirely, but as of right now, even if the other solder station doesn't show up, I can actually get a video done on Saturday, which I'm hoping to do. Okay, so it's been a couple days now, and as you can see by the box in front of you, DigiKey finally sent the correct solder station to me. But before we get to that, I have a few more thoughts about this cheap $50 Seekone station. See, I decided to go ahead and start using this thing already for next week's video. The tape deck I'm doing next week, I decided to go ahead and do some of the capacitors in it already just to keep it from blowing up, because I wanted something new to play with on my birthday, and I decided, well, that's going to be the deck to do it with. So what I did was I got into it, I replaced all of the audio chain capacitors, at least on the playback side, with Nichicon UKZ, and I also did some of the recapping on the power supply that I thought would help it keep from exploding on me if I was playing with it on my birthday. So yeah, this station worked out really well for that. I can report to you now that the auto sleep function is working properly. It does go to sleep when it should, and it does wake up again when you pull the iron back out. So there is an accelerometer in there. But in terms of using this as a long-term permanent solution, I would advise against it. It's kind of too cheap for that. Like, they recommend you not use it for pro use, and I agree with that. But yeah, basically what happens is the front panel of this gets rather hot, and it makes hissing noises while it's working. So I don't know just how well it's going to hold up over time, but I didn't buy this to hold up well over time. It's just a backup station for whenever I need it. So yeah, I'm happy with it, but again, permanent solution it's not. And the other thing is, because the case is all plastic, there is no grounding any other tools to this. So what I like to do is I like to ground my anti-static straps and stuff to my solder station because it's easier, but you can't do that with this one. And There's also no discharging static electricity on your person by touching the case, which is something I like to do as well. So yeah, very much not a pro tool here. I don't think this would hold up to 16 years of heavy soldering use like I did the last station. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to clear this off, and we'll talk about the box on the table. Okay, so the box on the table. Like I said in a previous video, this is the all-vowel company that sent this. You can see the name down here. I don't know how you pronounce it. Aiwa or something like that. E-I-E-I-O, A-E-I-O-U, whatever. But yeah, this was 235 bucks or so from DigiKey, plus the solder tweezer adapter was another 50 something bucks. But yeah, I thought this was the right call for me, considering what my budget looks like. Again, I would have preferred something a little more along the lines of a JBC or a Pace or Weller or Hacko station, but unfortunately the old solder station failed before I had the budget in place for that, so I had to go with what I could afford at the time, so that's this. So let's have a look at things in here, shall we? We'll start with the tweezers first. I did get the ones matched to this solder station, so should be okay for compatibility. As mentioned, these are hot tweezers, and they're nicely hooked so that you can scrape yourself all to bits on them when you uncap them, but whatever. I'm used to getting injured when I do these repair videos. We'll just take a look at this real quick. Decently long cable on it. Let me measure it for you. Okay. About 3 feet long is the cord on this one. And I kind of spaced out on this. I didn't get the holders that go with these. Wasn't sure if it came with them or not, but apparently it does not, so I'm going to have to order those separate if I want them. But yeah, these should be nice when it comes to desoldering stuff that requires such things like capacitors on surface mount components, that type of thing. But for now, I want to put these caps back on so I don't hurt myself again. And we'll set that off to the side because we got to look at the big station first before anything else. Okay, so the model I got is this one, the Int701A Double Plus. The one DigiKey originally sent me was this one down here, the 852A Double Plus. And the difference between the two is the one they sent me first is hot air only. And we might take a look at that in the future because there's a possibility that they're letting me keep it, but I am not sure. They said that they wanted it back and that there would be a separate email coming with shipping directions on how to bring it back to them or get it back to them, as well as a prepaid shipping thingamadoodle to, so I wouldn't have to be on the hook for that. But to date, no email has been received, and it does not appear that they are charging me extra for the actual correct station, so I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, 852 and 701, I don't know how they made that mistake. It seems rather obvious that it shouldn't be possible, but it is what it is. And like I said, this is the one I ordered now, so hopefully it works and does what I need it to do. ESD safe, of course. I need anti-static tools. That's not optional for me. That's why I was so glad the Seek1 station also had static safe technology, even if I can't discharge static to the case. But yeah, 110 volts. You can get the 220 volts version as well from DigiKey. You just have to order it that way. But yeah, this box is significantly heavier than the other one they sent me. So yeah, the other one is way up over there in that box way back there by the home theater, ready to go back to DigiKey anytime they want it back, if they ever want it back. I don't know, like I said. But yeah, anxious to get started on this. Oh, they got a pronunciation guide here. Aoyue. Cool. Now we know how to pronunciate this. I'll probably forget how in the course of this video. Professional tools designed for soldering and reworking circuits. And I hope it's at least up to the standards of the last solder station, because that one held up for 16 years of heavy use. That one was very much a professional grade device, I think. So let's open it up and see what we get. Okay, we've got the EIEIO instruction manual. See, I already forgot how to pronounce it. Aoyue. Aoyue. Yeah, it's Aoyue. And what else we got in here? Heating element compatibility chart. Just show that to you real quick. And yeah, like I said, I'll have to get the separate holder device for the tweezers, because I'm probably going to be using those quite a bit. Okay, what else we got in here? Well, we're going to have a station for sure. Here's what the packaging looks like. There's going to be accessories and stuff in here. I'll just pull this box out. There's an iron holder here with other things in it. And of course there's the station. So let's pull the station out. And we'll get rid of the box here. Like so. Alright, so here's the station, and isn't it always just the best sign when things like this fall out of the packaging without you taking them out first? This is probably the shipping screw that secures the air pump in there, so hopefully everything's good. And yes, that's exactly what it was. This would have gone right in here to secure it for shipping. So, yeah. I've got another piece of test gear I should show you that had similar issues. So we'll do that real quick. That right there is my millivolt meter that I just got. Right there. You can see which one I got right there. But I gotta tell you right now, the build quality of that thing is not good. So I'm a little nervous about that. I had to zero the meters already because they weren't zeroed from shipping. But yeah, there was also stuff rattling around loose in there, and when I opened it up to find out what it was, I'll get you back over here. I discovered this, and I don't know where it came from inside that particular device. So I'm thinking what must have happened is they applied this to something, and then it kind of fell off and rattled around inside the unit, or got lost inside the unit, and then they redid their heat shrink. So yeah, I couldn't find a place where this was missing, but there were solder boogers lying around inside the case and everything. So I'm going to have to get inside that millivolt meter and calibrate it if it's not been calibrated. I'll use my scope for that, but let's get to this station here. Very similar construction to the old station. There's stuff on the side here. Probably for mounting brackets and stuff for holding the soldering iron. Got digital temperature control for both the vacuum desoldering gun and the soldering iron. This is the air nozzle here. This is for either the fume extraction on the soldering iron or the desoldering gun. I will probably not be using the fume extractor, but it's got that too. Round back, what do we have? Well, there's our power switch. AC receptacle, of course. Standard IEC stuff with built-in fuse. I don't know, can we pop that fuse out and see what's in there? Oh, there's an extra fuse in there. Cool. Let's see, this is 250 volts, 3 amps. So it is smaller in capacity than the old station was, at least when it comes to the fuse. I'm gonna wait to get the cover off this thing until we actually test it, because I want to be sure it works before I do something like that. But let's continue on here. Let's have a look at our bracketry, shall we? Okay, nice heavy base here for the soldering iron holder. I don't know what this is back here. It's something. Not exactly sure what it is. Oh, I'm starting to get a picture of what that is, though. Solder holder. That's what that is, I'm sure. This is a lot better built here, this holder, than the one that came with the old station, which I've got right here. It's just plastic on the old one. So that's an upgrade. Okay, so we got a solder holder and then a soldering iron holder. I'll put those off to the side and we'll get into this box here. Okay, here's the iron with built-in fume extractor. Hopefully that can be removed if I don't want it, because I'm 90% sure I don't want it. I want all my cancer, thank you. I want to inhale all those fumes. But no, maybe I should learn to use it. Even though it kind of looks like it would be tough to get it into certain places that I need to solder with it. And yes, this comes with much more cord length than the old station did, so very much appreciate that. We've got a little bit more length on the extractor tube than the actual wiring. That's good. So I'm gonna move this up a bit and then we'll measure. Let's see, can I find my tape measure? I shall measure my treasure. If I can reach around you and get the tape measure here. Yeah, about 33, 34 inches. That's plenty of length for me. Now let's see if this extractor device comes off of it. Well, the rubber protective thing comes off, but no, it's built into the handle. So if I want this out of the way, I'm going to have to loosen this off and then just pull this out, I think. No, that doesn't really come out very well. You'd have to remove the hose from this end. We'll give that a shot. And then pull it out the front, it looks like. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't come out the front. Doesn't seem like it wants to come out the front. Okay, so I'm going to have to get used to that, I guess. Oh well. Probably shouldn't be inhaling all those fumes anyway. It's backed off enough from the tip that it might not be too big of a deal. Let's pull this cap off, and yeah, it looks like we've got another Hakko compatible setup going here. I'll get my actual authentic Hakko tip. It does go on. I'll use the one that came with the station, of course. Might as well use up the free stuff before I get into the expensive stuff that I don't have replacements for yet. Okay, and we'll just check the fit in the holder here. Oh yeah, it goes in without problems. So that should work out well. Now I'm going to set this aside and we'll take a look at the gun. Okay, I guess we've got some more stuff to look at before we get to the desoldering gun. First off, we got spongy stuff here, as usual. Not sure what this little bag full of screw and nut is for, but shall we go ahead and get the sponge damp? I got my drinking water right next to me, so we can do this. Just dribble some in there, and we'll see what kind of sponge we get with this. Not much, I'm gonna say. Yeah, I might want to be replacing that sponge because it's not very impressive. I was hoping this would come with one of the tip cleaner thingamadoodles that the other station had, but I'm not seeing it in the packaging here. We've got this thing though. That'll be to hold the gun. And what else we got? We got stuff for the gun. They say you're supposed to moisten these before use. These are miniature sponges that go into the end or something. Let's see what else we got in here. Let's see, this will be for cleaning the tip of the gun. Probably something similar. It's like a little tiny drill bit. Not sure what this is. I bet the manual tells us what it is. No clue. I'm guessing this is mostly just spare parts for the desoldering gun. I've never used one before, so not sure. What's in here? This looks like flux or something. Anyway, I can get into this later. There's a something here and a something here. Two spare somethings, it looks like. Spare coil, that'll be for the gun for sure. All of this stuff will be for the gun. I am certain. I got water everywhere now. Okay, here's the power cord for the whole station. Standard stuff. And last but not least, the actual desoldering gun. Like I said, I've never used one of these things before. I've just always been too poor to have something like this. So I'm excited to see how this works. Clean, filter, and nozzle after every use. Good advice. So of course there's a cord set for this. Let's get into that first. Does not appear to be as long as the iron was. Let us find out. Well, maybe it is. 33 inches. That's probably more than good enough. Not exactly sure how to use this. Or how any of it comes apart or off or whatever. I do see the little sponge disc in there you're supposed to moisten, so oh, I see, that releases the back, and then I'm guessing this comes off, or is supposed to come off from the middle here, but I'm having trouble getting it to do that. Okay, yes, there we go. So our sponge disc goes in the back of this, and then our coil springy thing here goes in there. And this one looks like it's been compressed in shipping. This is how it should look. So I'll just pull this out, and there we go, that's fixed it. Okay, so I'm going to dampen this little sponge disc here in my water. And I'm just going to put it back inside the thingamadoodle here. And then put it back inside the actual gun. And that should be ready to go. And I think this is the holder for the gun. Yes. I will have to attach that. Alrighty then, I think we're ready to go with testing this. Right now I've got the iron connected to the smoke extraction thingamajigger over here. We're going to try that function as well because I need to know if it works. And oh, by the way, this is where you attach the solder holder if you want to use it. I've decided not to, so yeah, that's that. But we'll check out the soldering iron first and then move to the gun afterwards. So, and I've decided not to try and bother with the using the thermal camera anymore. I don't think that really works very well, so we'll just do what we can here. And as you can see, we've got off on both sides here, and they say that to activate the extraction pump, you hold down these two buttons simultaneously, but we got to turn this iron on first. And it should be on now. Temperature is going up. It's only set for 200 degrees Celsius, and it should be hot now. I shouldn't be able to hold on to it with my fingers, though. Is it hot enough to melt solder? Please don't tell me my new station has a problem. I'm going to go up to a more normal soldering temperature here. 340. Oh yeah, it's there. Let's turn on the extraction thingy. It is extracting fumes like it should be. Can I turn that off again? Yes, I can. Very cool. So let's see what we can do with the soldering iron here. I've got cables all tangled up in my arms here, but let's see what we can do here. Let's try this one right here. I'm just going to leave the air pump off for now because it's a little distracting having that running. That's kind of a thick pad there, but it is working. Apparently. Let me grab my solder pult here for a second. I want to see if I can desolder this manually with this iron, because the Seekone station was able to do joints like this. Oh yeah, no problem. So we're going to crank up the temperature now. 480 degrees, and we'll try this big ground plate over here again. It's still working its way up to temp. 480 degrees right there now. Let's see if we can flow this solder over here. This tip is not quite the best for doing this kind of work. You'd want to use more of a chisel tip on this. But yeah, it's working. Normally I like to use the hot air on the ground traces like this, or anything remotely like this, because hot air seems to work better with this kind of thing. But yeah, this iron's making it work, and I'm using up the last of my lead-free solder on this. Yeah, you can see how hard of a time it's having with this area of the board. But like I said, I usually fire up the hot air station when it comes to really thick traces like that. So I'm not that concerned about it. I'm going to pull this back down to 340. It's back down at 340. And you're supposed to be able to use the desoldering gun along with the soldering iron. So let's see if it will. Okay, we'll set this up to 340. Soldering iron is still coming down to temperature. And we're going to have to swap the extraction thinger over for the desoldering gun, because we're going to try that here real quick. If we can get the tubing to go on the little thing here. It's kind of fighting me. The tubing isn't quite as big in diameter as what came on the iron, so this is going to be tricky. But not that tricky, I'm getting it. I don't think I really would want to be swapping back and forth too often. So it would have been nice if they'd had a separate nipple just for the fume extractor, but whatever. And yeah, both the iron and the gun are hot now. So I'm going to turn off the iron because we're done with that. And we're going to see about desoldering with the gun. I've never used one of these before. Let's see, what can we find that would be good to do this with? Let's see, we got a row of things here. I want to try that because this is mostly what I'll be using it for, is desoldering connectors like that. Come on, flow. Flow the solder, please. There we go. That seems to have done the job. I will have to get used to this for sure. That one didn't vacuum. Like I said, very early days for me with one of these things. Could be I don't have the temperature up high enough either, because this is a double-sided board. But I will get used to it. Bank on it, because this is a luxury I've wanted for ages and ages and ages. Yeah, this will work. Let me go up in temperature. Like I said, this is double-sided. I'll go up to 400 degrees. We'll try a couple more here. Let's see, what else can I try to desolder with that? Well, there is this controller card right on the edge here I could do, but I'm after something a little bigger and more substantial, like, say, a coil. Let's see, we'll try this right here, I think. Is that a coil? No, that's a wire. A coil would be better, I think, to try with. There's lots of coils on this thing, but some of them are going to be really hard for anything to desolder without hot air. So, yeah, we'll go for these two big solder joints here, I think. Should be up to temp now. Like I said, this is wire that's right here, so it's having to dump a lot of heat into there to even get that to flow. I don't think it's going to even be able to do it, actually. It's not even really that hot. So let's try this over here. Not quite. Let's try her again. Like I said, it's just a matter of learning how to use this and whatnot. Okay, that time it definitely went. So, yes, everything works. I'm happy with this purchase. I'll get used to it, trust me. But before we conclude the video, I want to mention that this does have sleep functions just like the Seek1 station does, except for one thing. This one doesn't automatically wake itself back up again. This one you have to touch one of these buttons in order to get it to wake up again. So that's one kind of drawback to this, but this is far better constructed for doing professional repairs. It's going to hold up longer, I think, than the Seek1 does. But I promised you a look at the inside. Once we saw that this thing works, and it clearly does work, so let me set up here and we'll take a look inside. Okay, before I pull this off, it looks like this is probably where they meant you to, or where they meant me to attach the soldering gun holder, or the desoldering gun holder, so I might move it over here. It's kind of a little awkward the way I've got it now, even though it does work this way, but I would rather have the soldering iron over on that side and the gun over here, just so the gun is out of the way, because most of the time I won't be using it. So, yeah, I think the lid is ready to come off now, but I have to kind of leave the gun where it is because it's still cooling down. So let's see if we can get this off. Ooh, got a lot of smoke coming out of there. Why? I don't see anything that was burning up. Could be the fumes that came out from using the soldering iron extractor. I've got it power disconnected right now. But yeah, here's the inside. Nice big transformer. Oh yeah, that's what it was. That was the smoke from the soldering iron. This is the exhaust outlet right here, I think. So yeah, I guess all it does is take the smoke from going into your lungs and just fills the case with it. So I don't know if I really want to use the extractor very much. So yeah, I was kind of worried about that smoke being from the electronics in this thing, but I don't think it is. I smelled it. It doesn't smell like burning electronics at all. At least I don't think so. No, it just smells like new electronics is what it smells like. So let's see what we can see inside here. Where is my flashlight? Not here. Let me go get it. All right, let's have a look and see what we can see in here. This connector is a little bit off center. It's fully seated now. I don't think it would have done any damage to leave it the way it was, but while we're in here, might as well grab some more slack and plug it in properly. Let's see, what's this transistor under here? You guys might be able to read that better than I. Let's see what's under here. I'm not going to try and reverse engineer this whole thing. I don't have the kind of time I need to do that. Plus, I can barely see any of this stuff that's in here. There's another transistor down there. What is that? See if I can show that one to you. I don't know if you can see that or not. Bunch of questionable capacitors in here again, just like the old station had. Let's see, what is this down here? It's Texas Instruments, whatever it is. There we go, now we can see it. I'll let you read the number off there. I can't see it. Over here, we've got a controller of some sort. ATE or ATME G48A, something like that. I don't know what that is. I just can't see anything very well off this little screen here. Okay, there's another chip down there. Not sure what that is. One right there. SN74HC 595N, something like that. And then there's one there's a couple of parts that are facing down. Can we get a look at those? Let's see, there's this one here. Trying to get a good angle on this part number. Okay, you'll have to tell me again because I can't see it. Or maybe I'll just pause the video while I'm editing and I'll see it that way. Okay, what's this one? It's a something, I don't know what. Anyhow, that's the Aoyue 701 double plus, or 701A double plus. Not the best station, clearly, but in terms of cheap Chinese stations. It's actually better built than the last one was that I had for 16 years. So with luck, this will hold up for a while now, because I don't want to replace this again anytime soon. Not after the hassle I had with actually getting it here in the first place. So yeah, I finally got the ability to solder back and the ability to desolder better for the first time. So you guys will have to let me know what you think. Should I save up and buy a Pace or a JBC or a Weller or something like that? Maybe I should, but I'll be honest with you. When it comes to soldering equipment, I like to use what I have until the wheels fall off and then replace it. So I'm probably not going to be in any hurry to replace this one anytime soon. I will get more Hako tips for it, because that's the one thing I'm glad about, is both of these stations use the same Hako tips. I can just keep buying those and live happily ever after, because I do like those Hako tips. And I'm just realizing we haven't tried the solder tweezers yet. Should we do that real quick? Yeah, I think we should. Something else fell out from the solder tweezers thing that I should show you. Came with a tip alignment tool. So let me get the cover back on this and we'll check out the tweezers. All right, shall we try these tweezers? I think we shall. I couldn't find anything in the way of surface mount devices to try with this. So we're just gonna have to use it as is on this, and I think we'll try and use it over here. So let's fire up the station again. And this connects to the soldering iron side, not the desoldering gun side. Okay, it says pen on the display. Do my tweezers not work? Yeah, the station's not doing anything. So, this is supposed to be the right tweezer tool for this, but maybe the tweezers are not functional. We have a 6-pin connector. I don't think it plugs into the... no, it does not plug into the other side. So what is going on with this? Why no worky? No, it's still registering a problem here. So I think my tweezers are not working. Yeah, that's disappointing. Let's see, can I get the connector apart in order to check it? That would be worth a try. Just to see if it's a simple connector issue. Oh, yeah, right there. We got a broken wire. Terrific. Not a broken wire. It's just come off is all. That should be an easy fix. Let me get the actual iron reattached. And we'll use the station to fix itself. I think I got it. Yeah, I got it. So I shall put this connector back together and we'll test her again. Okay, how much you want to bet this thing works now? I will zoom you in on the display here. Got to disconnect the iron. And we'll reconnect the tweezers. Now let's see if we still get the error message. Ah, it's working. I think it's working. It's moving up. So yeah, I could have wasted a bunch of time fighting with the manufacturer to get warranty support on this thing, or I could just sit here and spend 5-10 minutes to fix the dang thing in the first place. Alright, we're up to 340 on the tweezers. Are they getting hot? Yeah, they're getting hot, I can tell. So, we got a couple of working tweezers that weren't working before. Okay, for some reason my gimbal decided to go into standby mode and suspend all recording, so... DJI gimbals, what can you do? Okay, so we're going to try the tweezers and see if they work now. First off... Oh yeah, they're hot. I'm getting solder to melt on both sides. Oh yeah, I'm soldering two pins at once on this connector right here. So tweezers work now after fixing them. But yeah, that's all I wanted to know was, what do the tweezers work, and are they going to continue to work? And that's it for my gigantic spool of lead-free solder. Had it for decades at this point. I bought it when I was back doing the Johnny Guru reviews, so that's how long I've had that spool, but it's gone now. I'm not even going to try to solder with this little 1-inch piece of solder anymore, so I'll just chuck it and I'll go over to the new spool, which is this stuff right here. So yeah, this is what I'm going to use from now on, and like I said, I'm not going to use the spool holder on the new station. I'm good with this the way it is, so yeah, next week we'll get started on the Optonica 6405 direct drive cassette deck. I have fallen in love with that unit, and I'm hoping you guys will too, so I'll see you next week in the next video. Take care.